You're live.
Hello and welcome to Team SI's Midday Roast, where we like to share some of the conversations we're having around the office, around our agency, about the newest trends and innovations in digital marketing. And today we are going to be talking about Google's Marketing Next conference that we were lucky enough to be able to attend as a Google Premier Partner. So before we get into the weeds, though, I want to remind everybody to stop what they're doing and go to Facebook and share our Facebook live stream with your friends. And if you do have any questions throughout this this Facebook live feed, please make sure to leave those in the comments. We're hearing an echo now. Okay, and I'm going to share it. All right, are we all shared?
We are.
We are. All right, good stuff. All right, and so before we go any further, let's introduce our panel for today. We have Michael Newman, one of our digital media strategists here. We have Kyle McCourt, one of our senior account executives, and gracing us today, the SEO guru here at Team SI, John Morgan. Leader in all things SEO and optimization wise. Yeah. And I'm Pittman Ware, and I'll be hosting our talk today. So we attended the Google Next, Marketing Next 2017 kind of talk. They rolled out a lot of new kind of products, tools, extensions, updates. It's quite a lot. It's pretty overwhelming, but I think we can work our way through it. I was pretty excited by a lot of the things that either are rolling out right now or in the works that they talked about. So let's kind of kick it off at the beginning there. The theme really seemed to center around how you're having this kind of confluence of intent, data, and machine learning, and how that all ties into not only search, but then all of the search advertising products that Google makes available to us marketers. So, Michael, what were your kind of insights on that kind of first opening that they gave us?
Yeah, I mean, so if I had to pick one phrase that was sort of repeated over and over, it would be machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
Every product is sort of builds off of Google's hive mind, and I think there's no company out there that's got any more data on us than Google does. Everything you search and look for, Google's got pretty much a good hand in that, and the idea that to be able to leverage all that data is just going to be huge, I think, in the future.
Yeah, and were you about to say something, Kyle? Or John?
No,
Okay. Well, yeah, and I think they made a good distinction between there's data and then there's machine learning, and the machine learning is really what they're providing this ability for, say, that insight onto the mobile phone, and how much that changed kind of the intent of search and the information of context,
and they added
to the search,
and they added the accelerated mobile performance there as well.
Yeah. But the idea of now that we know you're on a phone, we can tell, are you near a restaurant, are you near stores, are you in a shopping district, are you in a mall, when you search for a product, as opposed to when you're at home. There's those bits of kind of machine learning providing context for the ad that somebody sees,
coupled with more localized data, because obviously your phone's got GPS built into it,
right? And
your phone will know where you are within 10-20 feet, versus your computer might know, okay, well, you're in this city, but your phone's a lot more local.
And I think they kind of crouched all of this, the reason why all this is relevant for brands, by that kind of first initial big number they put out there on the screen, which was that 1/3 of consumers are finding their engagements with brand advertising meaningful or effective or relevant.
Yeah.
That's a pretty, I think it was actually less than 1/3.
Yeah, it's less than 1/3.
And that's a pretty scary number, right? For the marketing profession. But I think it shows also the opportunity that we're seeing. So, Kyle, tell us a little bit about the ways that people are using search and the ways that Google are trying to fill in the gap of relevance.
Well, I think, and one thing that they touched on was people that are doing searches when they're in your store.
Right.
And so I think that the example that that the gentleman used that actually hits home for me is when you're looking for TVs and you're just trying to search on your device for reviews for a 4K TV or something like that. A lot of times, like you look at the store and there's all of these features are seemingly look the same, so you can really get kind of into people's minds while they're trying to figure out like what makes this TV different from this one, what has a better deal. So I really like that because I find myself doing that constantly, and that really hit home with me because I also research purchases like that.
Yeah.
Because you're making an investment in something, and you don't want something that's not going to be future proof, or whether it's automobile or television, anything like that. You want to have that right in front of you. So I thought that was really cool. I also like the cross-device idea of, while I looked at this on my iPad while I was at home, hanging out on the couch, and now I've moved into the store, I've just got my phone on me, so that the ability to track that as we go from the research phase into the I'm looking to purchase. I thought that was really cool.
And I think that brings us to that, one of the new products that they're rolling out that kind of is going to be complementing, Google Analytics and AdWords reporting and DoubleClick reporting is Google attribution. This idea of like trying to, attribute how effective, our marketing is and what parts of our marketing are most effective. And until recently, the best indicator we had was the last click. It's the last ad that we clicked on before we converted, but. Now we're going to be able to see that entire customer journey throughout all of the ads they were exposed to that they either interacted with, didn't interact with. John Morgan is our kind of senior Google Analytics professor here. Sorry, I'm picking on you.
Man, I'll take what I can get.
How excited are you about Google attribution?
Well, that's huge, and that's really been one of the biggest obstacles in online marketing since people have started showing ads on the web or started to track visits on the web. It's great to know how many people visited your site. It's great to know what pages they went to. It's great to know what they did. But really, if you have a store presence, a physical store, and you're not just an e-commerce entity, then really the biggest obstacle has been saying, okay, well, people came to my site, so what? Did they, okay, and then you get to the point where you can say, okay, yeah, we had some clicks to call, we had some people that filled out a form. It's still like, well, that's great to know, but do I know that person came in the store and bought something? And then you've got this huge obstacle of integrating CRMs, and it's just a huge headache. And so being able to trace back people that came in your store and attribute directly conversions to how your site is performing and link all that, that's huge from just an ROI standpoint, being able to trace that and being able to make improvements in your advertising specific to product lines or services that you're offering. And so that's really exciting, especially from an organic standpoint. I'm really excited about that because it gets really hairy when it comes to saying, okay, well, I've got all this blog content that I've been writing from an SEO perspective, and I'm saying, okay, well, from a dollars to dollars standpoint, how much can I attribute? Did people visit my blog? Was that an entrance point? When they started to discover my brand, and how did I help them along their journey? So that may have been the first touch point when they started to figure out my brand and what we can help out with. And then when they eventually do come into the store and make a purchase, being able to say, okay, well, people may have really discovered how we can help them from that blog, and then gone down the funnel, figured out how our products and services can help them more specifically, come in store, shop around, figure out we do have the best deals in town. And you can make that personal connection in store and finish the sale. But
I think that's going to be huge for retail, the retail industry, especially the brick and mortar, which still makes up,
very sizable.
The very size, outside of Amazon, we have so many clients where we are trying to drive all this, data to them and all this traffic and qualify it, and we can provide everything but the silver bullet that says like this display ad, sold that sofa.
And we're getting closer and closer.
We're closer and closer, especially with the new innovations with or the new product features, I guess, with YouTube's TrueView platform. Tell us a little bit about what TrueView is, and then we'll kind of go into some of the more in-store.
I mean, TrueView is sort of Google's branding for all their YouTube products. So that encompasses your pre-roll. Even the 3-second bumpers, I think, are still considered TrueView.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, anything that has the YouTube features, Google lumps it in TrueView.
So whether it's pre-roll, bumper,
the search, in search. So.
Okay. But yes, and one of the things that they announced at the product rollout at Next Marketing was the ability to add location extensions and store visits, measuring store visits to TrueView YouTube campaigns.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, it's going to be neat. Location extensions and store visits have been a part of search ads for a while now, and the reporting is great. You can see almost to a point where how people transfer from your ad to your store. There's that gap in the middle. We're getting closer, bridging that, and being able to add those extensions on the YouTube, the TrueView stuff will be huge, I think.
Yeah, totally agree. And so, kind of shifting back into search, one of the surprising things I noticed was the big uptick in the swing as far as search behavior or search input from text to voice. Kyle, we were talking about that earlier, and you were really interested in that.
I am. I recently got a phone that has Google Assistant on it, and I noticed that I use it more myself. But I even noticed that the way that my mother searches now, that her touchscreen phone is almost. It's obviously she still uses the touchscreen a little bit, but she tries to do everything she can from a speech standpoint.
Right.
So whether it's sending a text message or maybe she's looking for a recipe online for something that she's making at the time, it's easier whenever you get your hands dirty and something like that to just say, all right, phone, tell me how to do this, or be it phone or the home device you have, something like that. So I'm really excited to see where that's going, and I think that everybody. It reminds me of Iron Man and seeing Tony Stark have a true smart home. I'm like, oh, we're so close now. We're really kind of digging into that.
Are we going to touchless computing?
Most definitely. And so,
but yeah, I think that number that they threw up on the screen was 20% of searches now are happening over voice over text. That seems to be just. I almost couldn't believe that number.
It's definitely come a long way from the 90s with all the text and dragging text to speech or whatever. Speech to text. It's incredible how far, even the past couple years, when all the voice assistants first came out, it's gotten so much better.
So and John, how is that changing the way your job as far as SEO, search engine optimization? Now that's a whole different type of behavior. The way that we command the Google Assistant or Alexa or Google Home or one of these, Siri, to search for something has got to be completely different than the way that we type. To dictate is not.
That's right.
Is not to type. So, what's a good example of how you're now trying to optimize for voice as opposed to text input?
Yeah, it's been amazing to see how quickly Google has picked up on the different types of searcher intent and being able to deliver a concise answer, and we call it sometimes the answer box from a search engine optimization standpoint. You'll see it when you search for a how-to sometimes when you're Googling how to do this or do that. It'll pull up that answer box, and so being able to optimize for that can literally leapfrog you above your competition sometimes. It's interesting that you'll see sometimes for an answer box, they don't always pull from the number one organic result, so to speak. So you can be ranking in a classic organic sense at the bottom of a page sometimes, and they will pull your snippet to show in that answer box.
Wow.
And so that's a big opportunity, and we've seen click-through rates. even if people won't let us to say, people do search from a mobile device or whatever, and you see that snippet, but you want to know more about the how-to or whatever, the click-through rate can be upwards of 60% and beyond.
60%.
That's 50, 60 plus percent. So that's a really big opportunity. And so there are some tricks that you can use to get into that and leapfrog your competition. And so that's been huge. And of course, the voice search pulls from those answer boxes to be the answer when the Siri or Google Assistant responds to you. So, even if you just hear a response, that's still the voice of your brand gets an opportunity to speak in somebody's home.
Yeah. I feel like a big part of that's going to be having strong, useful content.
That's right.
Gone are the days of being able to just slap, keyword stuff pages up.
That's right.
And hope that you're going to get up there.
Most definitely. The one I see most often is if you're looking for, like a brick and mortar location, like I need, body work done on my car. Then not only does it find results like that, but it will ask you the whatever system you're using will follow up with, do you need directions to this place? And so can really start point people in that direction. Put them in the phone.
That could be really powerful.
Yeah. The shopping integration that they showed during the presentation, where she asked her Google Home, said, I'm looking for this product. And then Google Home replied, it's at Best Buy or it's Barnes and Noble, and it's this price. Do you want directions? And I'm like, it's completely replaced. Sitting down, typing your computer, and
How much time did you save?
yeah, exactly.
By being able to.
And what was she doing at the same time? Was she making dinner? Was she, laying on the couch? I mean,
Right, because I think one thing that, especially with the, with when mobile happened, I think it allowed advertisers a lot more room to get in front of their customers, right? Because now all of a sudden we're carrying the screen around with us all the time, and we're checking our Facebook, and we're doing searches, and we're browsing. And now, I think with the voice, we're going to get even more time in front of our customers. If I've got a Google Home in the kitchen while I'm chopping vegetables, and I'm also thinking about okay, hey, what's a good wine to pair with this, and so I haven't picked up wine yet, so I'm going to have to make a run to the store, and it's going to tell me and then give me directions to the the best the store with the best selection and nearest me.
Right.
That's I think really exciting.
very cool.
So another really interesting feature or tool that they're going to be rolling out to kind of tackle this idea of did my marketing work? Did what I did on Google and Gmail and YouTube actually lead into business? Is the ability for businesses to actually upload their own transactional data securely and privately, of course, into Google and connect to their their AdWords, their analytics, their DoubleClick campaigns, and measure that now against the results of their campaigns. John Morgan, any thoughts?
Well, that goes back to the obstacle in the olden times, I guess.
Yeah.
Last year and before, being able to connect to a CRM or a point of sale or anything like that, and you have your own kind of database. And a lot of companies, we were talking about this a little bit before the show, may have a different kind of database from piece to piece, from store to store. And so getting all that information into Google and being able to more directly attribute, did this person come from XYZ ad, and tracing all that back is going to be highly beneficial.
Yeah, they mentioned they have transactional data for 70% of all credit and debit transactions in the country. I mean, that's huge. That's
and that's going to be the option. If you don't want to upload your own financial transactional data, then there will be another service that you can opt into. But the basically surveys. I guess basically they've got a hose running to all the data from all the credit card, debit card issuers.
Connects to your Square checkout.
So they can just siphon through that and find your transactional data anyway.
And then link you as a customer from your credit or debit card all the way back to when you first found this by search or behavioral display or YouTube pre-roll or wherever. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited to start seeing that used for some of my clients. I'm sure y'all are too. Kind of going through, like looking back on the event, and I know it's a lot to we can't we would be doing this service if we tried to summarize the whole thing right now. But like, what was everybody's favorite take from it, or favorite new piece of technology or concept or that they discussed? Michael, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to double back a little bit and talk about I think Google attribution is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of being able to give a qualitative number to each of your marketing channels and say, yes, you're spending this much money in search and pre-roll and you have your organic stuff. Each of these things feeds into the other. It's not just a one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the last thing you saw was a search ad doesn't necessarily mean that was what originally drew you to the brand.
Yeah.
So I think actually saying it's a full on it's like 77% from search and 10% from display and then all the way down. Each transaction I think is going to be going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll help marketers allocate their money I think a lot better. Not wait. Hopefully use the money what budget they've got as good as possible.
Right, because we need to spend smart.
Yes.
Don't necessarily. The answer isn't always spend more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not well, sometimes it is, but this is going to make it easier to tell us if we need to spend smarter. We do need to spend more. Do we need to spend less in certain areas and more in other areas? And it's I think just going to take a lot of those steps out of measuring these different data metrics and making that just really more intuitive and concise. I agree. So Kyle.
So my favorite thing, and I actually used it this morning with a client. They've introduced their accelerated mobile performance to AdWords, and I believe that their term was they wanted a landing page on mobile to load in less than a second.
Yeah.
And then they now want the ads on that page to load almost as fast as the content on the page, which I think is really big. And having being able to test landing pages right away, that's really fantastic. They said you didn't need to have your webmaster do it. It's something you could do yourself and make those changes. Because that's one thing that I'm always trying to tell clients is like, hey, we need. It's not enough just to send something to your homepage because then they have to initiate their own search within your site. I was like, we need to, let's get something more relevant on there and allowing to show these numbers to them. Like, look, this is loading. Especially if we don't have much control of the website. If they have someone else working on it, that's going to be a great help. And so I'm really excited. And like I said, I've already started this with a client this very morning. I'm just trying to get a little bit sleeker landing page to point our ads to. And
I'm glad you brought that up because that was another kind of key insight that they brought up, that each extra second of load time on your mobile landing page was decreasing your conversion rate, I think by like 20% per second.
Yeah.
And that was a big theme of that whole presentation, was the idea of like make it one step, 1 second, and really hone that in because searchers are fickle now.
Sure.
most definitely.
Done.
Well, this is kind of weird coming from an SEO guy. I don't know, it's kind of out of left field, but I really think the YouTube store visits is going to be really cool because people usually forget that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And people go there for how-to information. People go there for informational videos and content. And so over the weekend, I installed new studs on my wheels. I had one strip out and decided to replace them all. And let me tell you, I watched a lot of how-to videos. And so when you're advertising within those videos, that's, I could have found probably the tools that I needed 5 trips to the store sooner than I did initially. And so there's a lot of opportunity to target people and then trace it back to that in-store for a client. That's a big opportunity, saying, hey, you know what, this YouTube content that I'm creating, is it really doing anything, or am I just getting views, giving somebody else an opportunity to see stuff? So there's multiple angles you can approach a potential customer. You can create the video content, you can advertise on good video content, advertise your products on that, and either way you can represent your brand and increase visibility, and it's really powerful.
I agree. I'm excited about that, and the ability to talk to a client and get that same question. Well, this YouTube, I'm getting the views. Is it worth it? And like, okay, let's take a look. Let's look at the data. Well, is this 100,000 in your sales that we did? That we spent 10,000 to get. Is that worth it? I'm not quite there yet, but I'm really hoping.
Getting there.
I'm really hoping to have that conversation soon. Grace, any questions?
No.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, thank you for joining. I encourage you, we've got some more information about Google's Marketing Next 2017 event on our page. I think we just had a blog post go live either today or yesterday about the event, and it kind of gives you a good summary as well, and kind of goes over some of those issues that maybe where we left off that we didn't get a chance to talk about. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, and remember to check out our podcast next week. We'll have that up on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, all the podcast sources. So if you didn't get a chance to fully hear everything, go back and download that and listen. All right. Thank you, Michael, Kyle, John. Thank you for joining us, Grace. Thank you for producing. Y'all have a great rest of your afternoon.
Okay, and stop recording. And then everybody gets to airdrop it to me.
All right.
Or send it in email. You don't have to do it, Michael. I can airdrop it to myself.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you said.
So if we really wanted to be like Google, we could have stopped with these